Morning, everyone. It's June 2nd, 2026, and I'd like to call the McLeod County Board of Commissioners to order at 9 a.m. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Our administrator is running a bit late. She had a family emergency, but she'll be here in a little bit. So we'll start with the consideration of agenda items. Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, I'd look for a motion to approve.
Move to approve, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Schmalz. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda. Any additions or corrections?
Mr. Chair, I'll move consent agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz to approve consent agenda. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Very good. Building maintenance, Joe.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Gonna adjust the mic here a little bit. Two items for consideration, and then I'll have one update. Item A, consider approving the sale of a 2005 F-150 via auction. I think the age of it kind of explains it all, but the truck is at the end of its service life.
Wishes of the board? We had talked about this, I don't know if it was in a workshop or we talked about it a little bit before. So it was kind of discussed, that it wasn't worth.
I'll move request, Mr. Chair.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz to approve the sale. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Chaska. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Update?
Item B is consider approving the bid from Wood Acoustics of Alexandria, Minnesota to install acoustic sound panels per the engineering plan in Century Hall at the McLeod County Fairgrounds at a cost of $32,400 with funds from the designated capital asset budget 25,807. A second bid was also acquired, and it was $44,500 and was received from St. Cloud Acoustics. We have had a few different options that have been looked at and considered, and this is the most economical, low maintenance option, yet still has an effective control over the acoustics in the space.
Wishes of the board?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
we, ever since our very first event in Century Hall, we had noted that the echoing was an issue as we have different, different activities in there, and so we set out to try and find an option that would help. And he had mentioned multi-purpose options, and that is definitely one of the limiting factors here, is that we have anything from livestock to nearly weddings in the same building, and so we have to find something that can be easy to work with for all the options that we built that building for. This is a good place to start. It is actually less than what we set aside to try and fix this problem, so hopefully it does its job, and we can control some of that background noise, that echoing in the building. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second? I'll second it. Discussion?
Just a thought. Having going through that building, and I shared this with Paul, the echoing for me is horrendous. Joe, you and I had talked about this yesterday. So putting panels on the ceiling is a good start, can I say it that way? But I don't think it's the end-all solution. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah, I mean, definitely we're not going to control it 100%, right? but the building there's a lot of complexity to it, so, I mean, I think this is a really good starting point, see where we're at, see what the results are, and if we needed to, we could look at some other options on the side walls as well.
I was at a facility last night and I took some video of what they had done, and I'll share that with you and Sheila after the meeting and stuff, but
Yeah.
it was very impressive.
Any other discussion? Commissioner
Mr. Chair.
Smalls?
Joe, I didn't see any language in the board packet with this particular company as far as the timing goes. Can they come in and complete the work before August 1st?
That is the hope, you know, the timeline to get the material. When they bid it, it was looking like we would have it completed by then. We didn't get it to the last board meeting, so we are just slightly behind, but the goal is to have it completed by then. We obviously don't want to be in the way of the show for the fair, so if we're not able to get the components in time, then we would have to decide and at that point whether we push it back after.
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, very good. Those are my goal and my hope as well, that we can, you know, move this thing along and have it ready, you know, by the time the fair shows up, so.
Anything else? Call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now the update.
Yeah, got an update here on the elevator project at Environmental Services. So the foundation, everything was dug out, poured. The elevator shaft, so we've got that shaft is fully set up to the second level. In order to do the opening, when the engineering was done, it was basically take these pieces, put them together. We can't fully get it together because the metal casement for the door, we don't have it, and we can't have it until afterwards. So we had to have a change made, and that's where the change order came in for an additional beam that was different than what was initially designed. So we went ahead and approved that based on the fact that it was within the contingency amount, and that's on order now. Once they have that, they'll set that. They'll be able to cut the opening in the floor, and then that'll allow them to continue setting the block going up the second story up to the ceiling. So, and then once that's all set, the elevator company themselves will come out and measure everything, because you know when you're building everything, it could be a little bit off of what the drawing says. They'll measure it all, and then build it to fit that shaft. So the block works really nice. They've done an excellent job. If you get a chance to swing over and take a look at it, so far it's coming along really good.
This is for information, so you got questions for Joe? Okay. Thanks, Joe.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Environmental Services, Mark, he's got several things on the agenda, and then I added on, he's gonna speak to, some of I'm getting a number of calls on what's going on with solar. And he's gonna speak to some of the things we can and can't do as a county on it, and how it proceeds, lack of a better word, but go ahead, Mark.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
I will begin with item A, and that is to consider renewing the annual service agreement with Routeware, Inc. out of Austin, Texas for the Recollect subscription that provides technical support and upgrades for the McLeod County Enviro app at a cost of $11,631.96. Funds would come out of the Solid Waste Fund, account 05-391. This is a 12-month subscription that will run July 15th, 2026 through July 14th, 2027. There is a 5% increase over last year for this particular subscription. This subscription, as many of you know, people that use that, and I requested numbers this morning, we just haven't been able to get complete numbers on that, but This app does a lot of information. It's a education piece, but it also talks about routes so people can log on and know when their recycling is gonna be picked up. Talks about what kind of material can be brought to us, what can be put in the container. It's a plethora of things. So it is a good subscription. Unfortunately, there is a cost increase with any software, and we are seeing that this year.
Questions for Mark?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
this just seems to be another cost of providing the service. Let's keep in mind that McLeod County is the only county in the state of Minnesota that does not have a solid waste tax and our property taxes. And so we're able to offer this out of our solid waste fund. With that in mind, I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Any discussion, questions?
Mr.
Go
Chair?
ahead.
And Mark, I think, yes, it did increase 5%, but maybe there's some value there as far as still working with the same software. So I'm thinking about, the savings there potentially could be not learning new software and the time spent, working with new software. So I can support the motion as presented.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner Smalls, I appreciate that comment because we all as humans are a creature of habit, right? So when there's change on the back end, we get quite a few calls when we have change with that learning curve piece. So I thank you for that comment because, being consistent and 5% falls in line typically where the rate of inflation has been over the last calendar year. So I do not believe it's out of the ordinary.
Very good, thank you. Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions for Mark? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B is to consider approving final plat 26-01 as requested by Gerald Heinz for a two-lot final plat to be known as Scouts Landing, located in the southeast quarter of the northeast quarter of Section 26 in Tacoma Township. The applicant recently purchased this 14.19 acre property from Dan and Barb Hebert. Lot 1 is proposed to be 3.8 acres. Lot 2 is proposed to be 9.48 acres. The sketch plan was approved by the county board on August 5th, 2025. The preliminary plat was approved by the county board on February 3rd, 2026. The Tacoma Township Board granted approval of the final plat on May 14th, 2026. The Hutchinson Joint Planning Commission recommended approval on May 20th, 2026. Originally, this was known as Heights Addition, and Gerald, who is present today, he just requested that the name change prior to the recording of the final plat to Scouts Landing. So if you didn't recognize the name, it's because it was under a previous name, and we do have the ability to change that as long as there isn't another plat recorded in McLeod County as Scouts Landing, and we've gone through that process, so everything is in order.
Questions for Mark? Hearing none, what are the board's wishes?
Mr. Chair, there have not been any questions or concerns outside of the ordinary brought up at joint planning board, to make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item C is to consider approving conditional use permit 26-08 as requested by Anthony Lindeman to construct an accessory structure to be greater than 2,400 square feet. The shed size requested is 60 by 72 by 20 foot on a parcel 10 acres or less for personal cold storage. The property is described as 6.99 acres located in that part of the northeast quarter of the southeast quarter, Section 5, Penn Township. Penn Township Board recommended approval on May 11th, 2026. The McLeod County Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval on May 27th, 2026 with the following condition. Number 1, the structure shall be used for personal use only. If the structure is expanded or used to generate revenue, a new conditional use permit will be required.
Any questions for Mark?
Move to approve the conditional use permit for Mr. Lindeman.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Commissioner Chatska. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item D is to consider approving conditional use permit 26-09 as requested by Mark Forcier to construct a second dwelling for family care on property owned by his father, Vernon Forcier. This parcel is described as 6.81 acres located in the northwest quarter of the northwest quarter, Section 9, Glencoe Township. Glencoe Town Board recommended approval on May 14th, 2026. The McLeod County Planning Advisory Commission unanimously recommended approval on May 27th, 2026 with the following conditions. Number one, the second family care dwelling shall be a modular or manufactured dwelling. Number two, the second dwelling shall be removed or the existing farm dwelling will need to be removed once the assistance is no longer needed. Number three, an annual letter from a licensed physician shall be submitted to the McLeod County Environmental Services to continue the use of the second dwelling. The letter has been submitted. Vernon has gone through some health issues and is doing well, but could use the help on the property. The second condition on there, just for clarification to the board, the ordinance only allows one permanent dwelling per property. So therefore, it's the choice of the applicant at the point where the care is no longer needed, which structure they remove.
I happened to be at the township meeting when it was brought up there, and I'm aware of the, our zoning meeting. And I believe all the conditions are spelled out, so with that, I'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
I can second, Mr. Chair.
Seconded by Commissioner Schmalz. Any other discussion or questions?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, and Mark, I mean, it looks like the conditions are consistent with applications that we've looked at in the past, and I appreciate the work put into it, and happy to support the motion.
Right, and I think, a little bit of an editorial part, I think we're gonna see more of these because of the welfare of taking care of parents or kids or whatever, so anything we can do within a good parameter is a good thing, so I also will support it. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item E is a similar request. Consider approving conditional use permit 26-10 as requested by Amy Schultz to construct a second dwelling for family care on property owned by her son, Taylor Schultz. This property is described as 9.56 acres located in that part of the northeast quarter of the northwest quarter, Section 3 in Bergen Township. The Bergen Township Board recommended approval on May 13th, 2026. The McLeod County Planning Commission recommended unanimously approval on May 27th, 2026 with the following conditions. Number one, the second family care dwelling shall be a modular manufactured dwelling. Number two, the second dwelling shall be removed or the existing farm dwelling will need to be removed once the assistance is no longer needed. Number three, an annual letter from licensed physicians shall be submitted to the McLeod County Environmental Service to continue the use of the second dwelling. And we have received that letter from Amy. Amy is present. So just before I stop, this particular code provision that we have in the ordinance, and I agree with Commissioner Kruger, this is something that we will see more of. It served our county extremely well. There was a bill in front of the legislature approximately 7 years ago where they were trying to allow for tiny homes to be used on property throughout the state with no authority from local government for a 90-day period of time. I did testify on that at that time and push back on that a little bit just so there was control at the local level so we didn't end up with these tiny homes not meeting setbacks, not necessarily having services, and maybe turning into something other than a family care piece. So I'm very grateful for what McLeod County has done in the past with the ordinance allowing for this because it is something I agree that is very well served and very honorable to the families that choose to go that route and take care of their family members.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Mark, because I've been aware of this a long time. As long as we've got, health is the number one thing, and then, of course, family, and then sticking to, I think by staying on top of it, we're carving out the conditions, and they're met so we can continue to keep doing them. I mean, the dwelling mainly, when it's no longer needed, meet the conditions, and the sewer and water and setbacks, of course, no, you said it all, so. Wishes of the board.
Mr. Chair, I'll move request.
Motion made by Commissioner Schmalz to approve. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any more discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, happy to accommodate the Schultz family and, hopefully, carry out their wishes and we appreciate that. I mean, like what was said, I mean, this keeps people in our communities and not move them out of our communities, especially our small communities, you know, that don't have, long-term care facilities. So, it's a good, direction for the county and a good position for the county to be in. Thank you.
And it's, my opinion, it's good for the family. It's just, I mean, the cost, the economy the way it is, the cost of all this, if it's within the parameters of health and welfare, I mean, I couldn't say more. That's why we will, in the long run, have to be, we'll have to follow through to make sure conditions are met so we can keep on doing these things, so. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item F is to consider approving the sketch plan 26-05 as requested by Bridget Bethke Pinder for a one-lot sketch plan proposed to be 1.377 acres in size for the purpose of a building eligibility. This parcel is described as 1.377 acres of an 18-acre parcel located in the northwest quarter, Section 8, Hutchinson Township. There are currently 2 other non-farm dwellings in this quarter section, thus requiring this request. The Hutchinson Township Board recommended approval on May 14th, 2026. The McLeod County Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval on May 27th, 2026. And what the sketch plan is, just, it is in regards to the concept piece, that the property in question does meet the criteria established in ordinance of hard to farm. And abbreviated definition of that would be a parcel that's 30% wooded, something that's small and irregular shaped, or something that has poor soils.
Wishes of the board.
Move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item G, Commissioner Kruger asked that I speak to this. We have had a few projects that are above the threshold, if you will, for a local approval. So in regards to a solar garden, if a solar garden exceeds 80 megawatts of production, McLeod County does not have authority for a garden of that size. It goes to the Public Utilities Commission at the state level for approval. I've been working with a decommissioning working group with MPCA and the state of Minnesota since early 2025 in regards to disposal of these panels. That's how it started. It's morphed into financial assurity, it's morphed into siting, and it's still ongoing. So I'm grateful for that. I was asked to do this. I was asked to do this by Amanda Cotton, who works with MPCA, and I was asked because I spoke at a conference on renewable energy 2019. Don't quote me on that date, I'm giving you a rough area. But the group that I'm participating in, it's probably one of the best working groups I've participated in with stakeholders across the state of Minnesota. So the members of that board right now, or of that group, Jack Klemp, he is Department of Commerce. Suzanne Steinhauer, she's with the Public Utilities Commission. Jacques Harvin, Public Utilities Commission. Jamie Bain, she works with the Minnesota Management and Budget Office. Trevor Fye, he's also with that Minnesota Management and Budget Office. And then John Gilkison and Amanda Cotton. And Eunomia is a consultant that has helped author the legislation. There was a white paper that was put together, submitted to the legislature, or to the MPCA commissioner and assistant commissioner on July 2nd, 2025, that they were working on a bill to be introduced for the fiscal year 26 session. That did not happen, did not come out of committee, because the MPCA, the MPCA officers wanted to look at this a little bit more in depth before they asked for an author to the bill. And so that's where we're at today. Ironically, when Commissioner Kruger asked me to do this, I've been in consult with Amanda, who is meeting with Assistant Commissioner Kirk Kudelka on Friday, going over some of these changes. There's a lot of interest at the state level. And the concern is because when you have these solar gardens, typically 1 megawatt of power, it takes about 7 to 10 acres of land. It's a significant land holding. but you have anywhere from 2,800 to 4,000 panels. And if you have an event that happens, storm that comes through and wrecks these panels, counties across the state, especially outstate counties, are not in a position from a solid waste perspective to be able to service those panels. So we're working on creating, I shouldn't say we, the group is working on legislation to create a clearinghouse, if you will, an entity that will take these panels and either recycle them or resell them if they are of quality material. And that's one of the big things. The second one is just trying to create some consistency across the states, so you're not having local counties compete with each other, or not competing with each other, if you will, for the service of that business. So when you have large projects, and that's, there's one that, there's that group that is securing easements around the landfill Biskie area, and then there's another one just north and east of Glencoe here. The intent of securing those easements is to exceed that 80 megawatts, in my opinion, because then it bypasses county authority and it goes right to the PUC. And so we would have an opportunity to be able to attend those meetings and comment and make sure that they understand what our ordinance says and what we ask for, but we would not have authority per se to be able to approve or deny that. I can say that the project that is north and east of Glencoe, I have not met with any working group or any business that is proposing anything out there. Spoke to a few landowners, and the discussion they've had with some agents out there was in regards to securing easements for a transmission line, a buried transmission line that would potentially serve as solar. But it was not per se in regards to my knowledge for an actual solar project. But there has been rumors that that's what the transmission line is for. So if you have questions of me, I'd be happy to answer them. I know that's a pretty crude overview. Gets pretty in-depth. The state does have an interest. And again, as I said, I'm grateful for the working group I'm a part of, because it is a good collaboration, and it does seem like we're moving forward to propose something that would be good for all counties and create some consistency. How I got involved in this was through McPisa, which is the Minnesota Association of Planning and Zoning Administrators. They're an affiliate of AMC, and I was asked if I would be interested in serving on this. So Brian Martinson, who many of you know, has also been in consult with this group, and we report back to our McPisa group in regards to the legislation that is being proposed, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So again, I'm very comfortable with where we're at.
Thank you, Mark. For those that don't know, Brian Martinson is
AMC.
He's with AMC. Commissioner Dahl,
Few questions for Mark.
go ahead.
Have we had any panels in the county go bad that you're aware of?
Not that have been brought to us,
Okay.
not on a commercial scale. We've had some residential panels that they've called and asked if we would take them. And so it does fall under the e-waste provision of the state, which is one of the reasons why MPCA, who runs that e-waste provision, is concerned, as we are, in regards to the volume. There was that's a good question, so I appreciate that, Commissioner Dahl. There was wind turbines blades that were stacked down in Grand Meadow, Minnesota. If some of you remember, there was quite a bit of publicity, negative publicity last year in regards to that. And everybody wanted to look at each other and point the finger in regards to who was responsible for removing them. And then the local government is the one that really is burdened with, the eyesore, having to potentially get those things moved or cleaned up. That is one of the that's one of the projects that we point to of why we're trying to do what we're doing, so that we don't end up in that situation. The last thing that I would want to see as staff, and I think as a resident of this county, is if we do have a large solar garden that has an event, and we're getting towards the end of the commercial lifespan of those panels, these solar gardens, not that they would do that, but corporate business, they bankrupt the LLC that they create on there, then our financial assurity is what kicks in to try to do the cleanup. And I have done a lot of legwork on that by getting some bids from contractors for trucking, for taking out all the infrastructure that goes in with those, and then use the National Research Energy Lab out of Colorado Springs, Colorado, as the disposal of a panel, what it would cost to recycle each one, That's how we come up with our $50 per panel for recycling. But that does not include inflation, and when these gardens really have a lease on them between 30 and 40 years, there's concern, because I don't have a crystal ball. And I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew what that number would be 30, 40 years down the road.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, I wanna just insert something while we're on that topic, is it has bothered me, and I've watched this for over a year and talked with Mark and looked at some other areas. The actual, depreciation of the panels don't bother me, and that works into the business bottom line, or should. But if a tornado or a big hailstorm goes through, and we've seen some photos of one, I believe, in Illinois and Nebraska, there was a couple, I mean, that's catastrophic. I mean, I don't know, that worries me. There's some other issues that, I mean, you brought up one or two, that's bad enough, but that's not what I was really worried about, because some of these new facilities sound fairly, there are at least two that I'm aware of that are pretty big.
I just want to emphasize that, or make a point here that these commercial solar farms, when they're originally put in, do they bond? Is there any money put aside in case something, whatever happens?
We require a financial assurity, whether
And
that's a
how
bond.
much is that,
Whether it's a
roughly?
bond, well, it's dependent on how many panels there are.
Okay,
So it varies.
yeah.
So with the old technology, like I stated earlier, it could be 4,000 panels per megawatt. New technology, you're down to that 2,800, 2,700 panels per megawatt. So the math works out. If you have a bond, letter of credit, or you require cash escrow, that was one of the things that probably about 5 years ago, I spent a lot of time on, worked with our auditor treasurer and our finance staff in regards to, do we want to go cash escrow before we present something to the board? The concern I had is if you have a principal amount of cash escrow into an account and that garden sits there for 30, 40 years, staff changes, entities change because these LLCs are bought and sold by different groups. How do we know who to return that principal to? So to keep it as clean as possible, we elected to go the route of staying with a bond. And there are some disadvantages to doing that, because history serves that if the entity bankrupt the LLC and we have to collect on that bond, it becomes, significant work in regards to our attorney's office to try to collect on that bond.
Thank you, Mark.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
And to follow up with Commissioner Dahl's question, I mean, the real issue is inflation over 30 years. We put a dollar amount on, let's say, what a panel or the cost of recycling a panel may be, but what we don't know is what that dollar is going to be worth 30 years from today. So I just wanted to add that to Commissioner Dahl's inquiry. As being a pretty important factor too, as we look at these things moving forward.
And Commissioner Kruger, if I may, you and I spoke about this at length. Being a lifelong resident of this county as well, the last thing I want is for the taxpayer to have to pick up the burden, specifically on the cleanup, myself included, to have to pay for something like that. That should be the responsibility of the entity, not that I am in any way, shape, or form against renewable energy. I think there's a place for it. But like any business, they should have to be good stewards of what they're asking for.
And we've talked about it over the last couple of years or few years, that on small farms, I mean, even the 10 acres right now to me for what's proposed is small. So how much control do we have with the PUC? I mean, back to the part of making somebody bond that's gonna put in a couple hundred acres of panels, what control do we have? Do we have any? Do we actually, I mean, without all the legal moves, and I don't wanna belabor this too much, but they're the numbers, the calls that I'm receiving now is on the bigger, there's another one north of Hutch, but on the Meeker line where there's investors buying land. how much power do we have with the PUC? I mean, are they gonna tell us what we have to do? Or do we still have, are we still able to say, hey, we want bonding or, have they being responsible for cleanups? How does that work?
So a quick, clean answer, I asked that question. They said that they would definitely entertain what we have in regards to ordinance as far as our conditions, performance standards for these. But again, we have not been in front of them with a situation where we've got one applied for within our county. So proof will be in the pudding if and when that day comes.
Bottom line for me is I appreciate Mark's work here, and I just wanted to keep it, because AI, I mean, I'm also starting to get some calls now. AI is obviously, there's some investors looking around for data storage, and that's a hot button issue. And I have been directing my calls to Mark. He does, if he's got the time in there, he's really up on this, and I actually call him on my own to try and know as much as I can about it. But AI is also looking around for data storage areas, and they need a lot of power too. So it's a double-edged sword. It's not, it's,
So if I may just take a minute on that. So
ahead.
solar and wind is classified as an essential service in our county, and it's governed under section 18 of our ordinance. So they are a conditional use permit in our ag district, whereas a data center is not. A data center would have to go on an industrial zone property. Again, work I've done with Senator Dill in 2004, I believe has positioned the county very well, where we do not allow rezonings outside of 2 miles from any city. Had to do with an urban sprawl issue and the amount of taxes that were being paid to service, significant properties outside of that 2 mile area that couldn't be serviced through a potential municipal infrastructure, if and when that was needed. So I believe we're positioned pretty well in regards to that. We have a limited amount of area per se that, I don't want to say a number, but we have less area, and we have the justification for that. That if somebody did want to put in a data center, as it stands to reason, they should be closer to municipality, not any one municipality in McLeod County, but a municipality where they potentially could exercise the route for annexation if needed, or at least look at municipal infrastructure.
Mr. Chair?
go ahead.
And, my thought process was leading exactly to what Commissioner Kruger just mentioned. I mean, if we pay attention to the news, if we pay attention to what is happening with our neighboring counties, it's good that we have the discussion. And I want to say that, I've been kind of involved in this solar thing since its inception here in McLeod County, and my connections with Winston Township. And it seems like the whole process was a reactionary process, in my opinion, by what we wanted to do or what we desired to do. So I'm really happy that you're at the table. On the front end, right now, that's going to put us in a much better situation than where we were 10 or maybe it was 12 years ago. So happy that you're at the table. I think that your desires are lockstep with mine anyway, and hopefully with the rest of the county board. So keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mark? Again, I'll compliment as well. I mean, he's doing a good job as far as his job is direct as being environmental and planning and zoning, but his roots are pretty deep, so he looks out for the county as well. So I think we'll have you back in a bit, just to kind of keep, there's not much more we can do, but at least it's good to keep from fact and fiction. So that'll help us a lot.
And if I have an imminent project that is called, I definitely will contact the commissioner of the district to make you aware of that, so that you're just aware of that. And we certainly I can give details to the board, either at a board meeting or a workshop, whatever your desires.
Yeah, again, and my goal was to make sure that residents in McLeod County, or even anybody looking at doing stuff here, that we are trying to be as aware of what's going on as possible. Thanks, Mark.
Yep, thank you.
Public Service, Andrew, Public Works.
Good morning.
Morning.
Item A, consider hiring Short Elliott Hendrickson, Inc. of Hutchinson, Minnesota for the design of the Southwest Stormwater Resiliency Project at a cost not to exceed $85,200 with funds from the Fairgrounds Capital Improvement Budget. These costs are for the design work are split evenly with the City of Hutchinson per our joint powers agreement that was approved on April 7th, 2026. This project would essentially work on the basis of the 2025 City of Hutchinson Stormwater Resiliency Plan for the south part of Hutchinson. It includes abandoning and redeveloping the pond in the southeast corner of the fairgrounds, developing a regional pond to the east of the fairgrounds, diverting some of the ditch flow into that pond or all of the ditch flow into that pond and closing up the ditch. It will help improve stormwater flooding upstream of the fairgrounds and also help treat the fairgrounds stormwater, as well as create some additional space at the fairgrounds. The project and agreement were both discussed at the March 31st, 2026 Joint City and County Workshop.
Questions for Andrew?
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I think this proposal helps both the city and the county look at some responsible options as we look at some very long-range goals. And I think that we have some things to gain here, but we do have to invest some dollars in having the proper planning. So I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Wright to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Discussion? I was present at the workshop. I mean, it's a starting point. We have other questions, but without this report, we won't have answers, so I'll be in support of the motion. Any other questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Item B, consider approving the sale of a 1999 Kawasaki Mule and a 2010 John Deere Gator via auction on govdeals.com. Both units are at the end of the service life and were replaced with new Honda Pioneers this spring. We are trying a new auction service called GovDeals that specializes in government surplus auctions. It markets the auction items and does not charge a seller's premium. The City of Hutchinson has been using GovDeals for a couple of years with good results and no issues. So staff decided this was a good opportunity for us to test them out and see how that works versus MinBid, which we have been using historically.
Questions or wishes of the board? I'm glad you're looking at, when I set up the agenda, I had a couple questions on it, and I'm glad we're looking at options because there's new ways of doing it, and anything we can do to, try to smoothen that out would be great, so. With that, I'll make a motion to approve. A motion made by Kruger and seconded by Commissioner Chatska to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item C, consider awarding County Project 26000009, the countywide aggregate surfacing project to Meeker Wash Sand and Gravel, Inc. of Darwin, Minnesota, at a total cost of $292,543. This includes the base bid of $158,500 and alternates 1 and 3 through 9 for $134,043 with funds from the highway maintenance budget. The base bid provides 25,000 tons of aggregate surfacing. Alternate 1 is to deliver and stockpile about 4,700 tons of surfacing material to the Broughton Highway Shop, which will be used for shouldering material. Alternates 3 through 9 deliver about 10,700 tons of surfacing material to various county roads. And then the county will haul approximately 9,600 tons straight from the pit for shoulder surfacing throughout the county. The engineer's estimate for the project was $250,000 for the base bid and $576,820 for the base bid plus the selected alternates. Other base bids were received from Max Johnson Trucking Inc. of Lee Center, Minnesota, B&H Aggregate Services of Kimball, Minnesota, and Skyline Companies of Hutchinson, Minnesota, ranging from $181,250 to $243,750. The next lowest combination of base bid and alternates was B&H Aggregate Services, which was about $295,000.
Board's wishes, questions for Andrew? Right, and I don't mean to be lighted, but I mean, I do know that Andrew does a pretty good job of running these numbers.
Mr. Chair, I'll move request.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls to approve request. Is there a second?
I'll second with a question.
Seconded by Commissioner Dahl. Discussion, Commissioner Dahl?
Yes, can you describe when you're gonna go with the 9,600 ton from the pit and for surfacing throughout the county? Can you explain that, a little more detail for us there?
Yep, we'll be using that material for shouldering on our paved roads, and that'll be on various paved roads throughout the county.
Do we have a special truck that conveyors that out in a shorter
Yep, so we,
width?
so we haul that in our tandem dump trucks, which are also our snowplow trucks. And then we have a shouldering machine that mounts on the front of a road grader, and it's got a conveyor and a strike-off machine for the shouldering. So we can get that down pretty narrow, about 2.5 feet to do the narrow shoulders, and then we can go out as wide as we need to for wide shoulders.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Andrew? I'm glad to see it going, because with some of the new roads and construction that we've done doing in the county, there's been some wants for getting that shouldering done, so.
Yep,
it is-
this should bring us up pretty close to up to speed on shouldering, and we shouldn't need as much shouldering going forward, but we still need to do shouldering every year. We kind of got neglected for a couple of years prior to my tenure, and we're trying to pick up and get that moving again, catch up.
Very good. Call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And, Mr. Chair, I did let Ms. Murphy know I'd be willing to cover those county administration items when appropriate.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start with the calendars. Since the last meeting, I've had a Trailblazer meeting. Again, pretty much finishing up the year and starting planning for a new year. HRA, pretty much the same. Look through, we have no vacancies in our homes. We have one, I take it back, vacating at sea and getting it cleaned up and some new carpet put in there, but it's been doing pretty well. Agenda review on the 28th, along with a budget committee meeting that brings us to today. I fielded a number of phone calls, like I had said earlier, on the solar farms, or what's going on and what we have control over, along with some water issues that don't seem to go away even when it's dry. That'll bring us up to today. Commissioner Wright?
Definitely had some calls and emails on the detours that are happening in my district with the closure of 212 and 15, and then also on the road right to the south of me, County Road 18 is getting its concrete overlay, but just continue to encourage to be safe on the roads, and within a couple months, all this will be past us, and we'll have some excellent transportation corridors left. On Memorial Day, I did attend the services in Hutchinson. Just want to note that our very own Cassandra Kerrigan was the main speaker during that, and she did a fantastic job and was able to offer within her speech some context of her real experience serving in Iraq as her sergeant, who, if I remember correctly, was a Sergeant Cook, lost his life while on patrol, and she was able to talk about the impact that made on her unit, and I thought that was a very, very impactful presentation that she provided, and did a fantastic job during that. We also had this last week a quick budget committee that's just kind of started to set up the outline of events as we start looking for our budgets already for 2027. That's it for me.
Mr. Dahl?
officially, I attended the workshop on May 19th. And then I'll jump to my unofficial. I was in attendance at the Hutchinson Area Joint Planning. Really, there just signed some documents to clean up from when I was there before. Did a preview of all the buildings at the fairgrounds on May 29th, and then I met with Sheila yesterday for a couple hours. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner Dahl. Commissioners,
Sorry.
go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner Dahl, for your report. Short report for me. After our board meeting on the 19th, we had our workshop here, and then that afternoon, I had a well-being committee meeting. I attended by Zoom for that meeting. And then on Thursday, the 21st, I attended the Southwest Initiative. They did a social and a celebration celebrating their 40th year of existence. It was held at one of the establishments in Hutchinson that they have supported with grant funding. And it's kind of like the way they've been showcasing some of the work they do. Similar to what they did last year, they showcased a company that was a recipient of grant funding to start up businesses locally right in Hutchinson. I've handled a few calls about culvert crossings, mostly coming from Hale Township. And that ties into, you know, the CD10, CD8, and CD36 repairs that we're looking at doing on those systems. And I want to also piggyback on what Commissioner Wright said about our VSO officer, Cassandra Kerrigan. I've had the pleasure of hearing her presentation in past years at the memorial commemorations, and it is a wonderful message that she shares, and a touching message that she shares, and a great honor that she conveys when she gives these addresses to the public. So a very valued employee of McLeod County, and happy to have her out in the public sharing the message. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Cheska?
Excuse me, after the workshop on the 19th, on that Thursday, I also attended the Trailblazer meeting. Like Commissioner Kruger said, it's kind of clean up, reviewing policies, looking at the budget, the audit, that sort of thing. That afternoon, I attended the SWIFT 40th celebration in Hutchinson as well. I know Nathan and I attended that last year, and it's always kind of nice to touch base with those people that you don't see on a very regular basis. On Wednesday, the 27th, we had our planning and zoning meeting. You heard most of that stuff today there. And it's always kind of nice to do the road tour. There's so much benefit in that, so you can actually see where they're going and what the property looks like, and kind of their plans for that. Then on Thursday, the 28th, I had a UCAT meeting that I did via Zoom. There again, it's just some policy stuff, some grants that they have coming or that they're almost done with. They do their grants on a rotating basis, like most of those nonprofits do. So they went through, so if you don't know, UCAP has they have a program. Well, they'll do the taxes for some of the people that are eligible for that. And the amount of money that they get back for the people or save the people, and the number of returns that they do in a year is just astronomical. And all the people that do the taxes for the UCAP eligible residents, it's all volunteer. It's like, I think there was over 5,000 hours of volunteerism that was done. So that is really great to see. And I never knew that UCAP had that before. So I as well have received multiple phone calls, texts, emails from residents with the roundabout detour coming right through the city of Brownton. I wanted to give a kudos to Andrew. Of course, he just walked out right before we started this, but I don't know how many times I've called Andrew or texted him or whatever,
And he's always, you know, he's got answers, or yep, that's gonna be done this, then. And I know a lot of the city residents in Brownton have contacted us and said, who can I get a hold of? And I said, well, start with Andrew, with the county, and if, you know, if it's a state thing, then go right to the state. So Andrew's been doing a great job of fielding the calls, and I finished my conversation with him as, well, it's just gonna be a short 3 months, and then we'll get it done, and, you know, everything will go back to normal. So, and lastly, I don't know if I should share this with you guys or not, but if you're not busy on Friday, I have been asked to milk a cow at Dairy Days in Hutch from 11 to 1. So it's myself, Representative Gilman, and I apologize, I don't know her name, but she's on the school board for Hutch. So they did elected women officials within the county as I don't know how we're celebrities, but, you know,
We'll find out.
we'll find out, I guess. So.
Like they say nowadays, you go, girl.
Well, I said I would rather milk a cow than dance like Paul did, like
Yeah,
dancing
right,
like the stars, so. All right, that's all I've got, thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Last week, our office did have another felony jury trial. This was on a burglary in the second-degree case. Assistant County Attorney Droppo was the lead attorney. I'm pleased to announce that there were several counts. They were all guilty verdicts, so that defendant is awaiting sentencing. So Mr. Droppo and staff did a nice job on another jury trial. And then on a lighter note, I did attend the City of Glencoe Public Safety Open House on May 27th. It's a neat event in Oak Leaf Park. It was a beautiful day for it. There were numerous public safety related agencies there. It was a free event, so there was a meal provided. There were, you know, jump house, a number of activities, giveaways, a lot of resources, information there. The sheriff's office attended, Glencoe Police Department, Glencoe Fire Department. The LifeLink helicopter was there that the children got to check out and get to see take off. DNR, State Patrol, FBI had a community outreach person there at a table. To be continued, the Towards Zero Death Coalition, and some others that I'm probably missing. But it was well attended. There are a lot of information. Our different officers were giving demonstrations. So Sheriff's Office had their equipment there. Glencoe PD did, showed people how we operate our drones. You know, we have drones at our disposal. There was a K-9 unit there giving some demonstrations and available for the kids to check out. So it was just a really good community event. It is an annual event, so if you haven't had an opportunity to check it out, I encourage you to do so in the future and years to come. But that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, Mr. Chair.
Now go ahead into the administration.
Thank you. I'll start with item A. For the board to consider renewing support and maintenance on network infrastructure components from inside public sector out of Chandler, Arizona for a state contract price of $5,406.89 with funds coming from the information technology budget. This support and maintenance covers the core networking infrastructures located in the courthouse buildings. Looking for approval on that.
Just a comment here, this is a request coming from IT, and Matt had some other duties today that he couldn't get away from, so we did discuss it, and I think he brought it up at one of the workshops as well before, so I'll go with the wishes of the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Dolan, seconded by Commissioner Schmalz to approve. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Item B, consider reappointing Mark Telecki as McLeod County Environmental Services Director, including the duties as Planning Director and Supervision of Zoning Administrator, effective June 19, 2026 until June 18, 2030. Minnesota statute, section 394.29 states the board may appoint a planning director to carry out the duties of Minnesota statute section 394.21 to 394.37 and the McLeod County zoning ordinance, section 22, subdivision 1, discusses a 4-year appointment for the zoning administrator.
Self-explanatory, so wishes of the board.
I will move to approve.
Motion made by Commissioner Chaska, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. Any discussion?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to acknowledge that Mark not only wears many hats for the county, for his county role, but as he proved today, his ability to have leadership on a statewide with all the zoning as McPisa board. He was recognized last year by the statewide conference of zoning administrators for his leadership within that organization, and we never brought him in here to embarrass him, to acknowledge that we knew about that, and maybe we should someday, but I think it's it just goes to prove how well he does his role, not only for us, but he also has the eyes and ears statewide.
Any other, go ahead, Commissioner
Mr.
Smalls.
Chair? Yeah, happy to support the reappointment of Mark Telecki. He's a valued asset to McLeod County and a valued asset to us here at the table at the county board. I think it's important to have that continuity, not at just the local level, but at the state level as well, as Mark is participating in testimony and working on these issues, at the state level before they even become issues at the county level. So really happy to support the reappointment. Thank you.
I thank you. All I can say is dittos. He's valued to me personally as getting advice and statutes. I just can't say enough. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item C, consider adopting resolution 26CB17, additional county commissioner committee appointments for 2026. These appointments are Tom Dahl, as was discussed most recently at the May 19, 2026 board workshop.
We've went through this all due to a resignation and everything Tom's gone through. It's just to finish out this year, and then the new appointments will all be discussed next year, so I'll move to approve. Kruger moved, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Wright. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item D, consider approving the 2026 through 2027 American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees, AFL-CIO, Local Union Number 185-0, AFSCME Collecting Bargaining Agreement.
Wishes of the board.
Mr. Chair, I'll move request.
Motion made by Commissioner Smalls to approve. Is there a second? I'll second it, being I'm on the committee as well, so any other discussion?
I just have a question. How
Go
many
ahead.
more do we have left? Just
And Hannah might be in the best
One.
position to.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So right now, we have a handful of contracts that have been voted yes on, particularly within our MIN-PIA units. We're just finalizing contracts. There's some formatting, editing, those kinds of things back and forth with our business agent. We did go to mediation with 2 groups in May. One of them has agreed to the contract. MIN-PIA Corrections, excuse me. Our MIN-PIA dispatchers or communication officers have voted no on the contract, so we will see. We haven't heard next steps yet from that unit. And then we do have our one more group. We're meeting with mediation, our LELS non-licensed sergeants next week. So there are 2 contracts that we do not have a yes vote yet. Out of the 9, we have 9 altogether. Thanks for the question.
Hang on just a second. Any other questions for Hannah? Thank you.
Thanks.
Wishes of the board.
Mr. Chair, if I'll comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, as you stated, Mr. Chair, you and I serve on the Union Negotiations Committee, and I will let the public know that we started this process about a year ago. So it's been a slow process, but we're working our way through it, and we'll get there. But it's just taken a little longer time frame than past years. So appreciate you helping on the committee, and appreciate the work that Hannah, along with Sheila Murphy, do along with Colleen as well on the committee, and hammering out those details when we're at the table.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Item E. Notification of board workshop at 3:30 PM on Tuesday, June 16, 2026, at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. So just another special note there to note the afternoon time, 3:30, which is not our typical meeting time.
Thank you. Any other business to come forward to the board for the good of McLeod County? Hearing none, open forum. Anybody wishing to address the board? Press relations, any questions? Thank you. The next county board meeting will be at 4:30, noted again, 4:30 PM on Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, at the McLeod County Government Center, 520 Chandler Avenue North, Glencoe, Minnesota. Motion in order for a recess.
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Dahl. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Wright. All
Mr.
in favor?
Mr. Chair, before you, I don't know if you read that the next meeting is at 4:30. I think there may be a typo there that, oh no, you're correct. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Workshop.
it is
Yep,
confusing.
I'm sorry.
You covered it.
You're right.
Yeah, we have some, no, it's fine there, and it'll be noted in we have other business going that day. It'll be noted on our website and in the paper. All in favor of recess, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. We are recessed.
What time do we jump on a bus or whatever we're going?
Should be here in another 10 minutes.
Okay.
Very good.
Hold on, Stefan. I had these with me last time, but I walked out of here without handing them off. So, yep.